Okay, here we go. Our next spooky-ish story. By the way, I don't own any of the music. I'm going to post a link to the music below so that if anybody wants to listen to this music, they are more than welcome to. So, the book I'm going to read is A Halloween Scare in Minnesota. It's written by Eric James and illustrated by Marina Le Ray. And this is very special to me because I grew up in Minnesota. I work in Minnesota. A lot of my family lives in Minnesota, and my hometown is mentioned in this book. So here we go. So prepare if you dare. A Halloween Scare in Minnesota. Prepare if you dare for a night full of thrills. The time Minnesota gave everyone chills. A tale filled with sights that are best left unseen. You ready? You sure? This was my Halloween. Uh-oh. Hey, I see some things that look familiar. I think I've been to that museum. I've seen these statues. This looks like Split Rock Lighthouse. The werewolves howled loudly. The moon shone so bright, I stayed in my bedroom with the curtain shut tight. My heart started pounding, my knees felt so weak. But being a brave kid, I just had to peek. His house looks like it could be decorated to be like one of the coolest haunted houses ever, right? I pulled back my curtains, my mouth open wide. An army of monsters had gathered outside. They staggered and stumbled and lurched down the streets with bags full of cookies and candy corn treats. Emerging from sewers and houses and stores came creatures and critters and ravenous roars. Then more came along from all over the state. They filled up the streets at a dizzying rate. I like that there's a skeleton waving over here. The witch is flying. Looks like Dracula's hanging out. The spooky Minnesota tours. From Bloomington, Plymouth, Duluth, and St. Paul, the big and the little, the tall and the small, all gathered together for one spooky night to seek out the living and give them a fright. Oops, something's reaching for them. The thunder clapped loudly with terrible booms. The witches dodged lightning and clung to their brooms. The two-headed doggies tried chasing their tails, and banshees let loose with their hideous wails. The vampires hung out on the street in their gangs and grinned just to show off their pearly white fangs. The mummies moaned loudly and swayed side to side while Frankenstein stomped about town with his bride. So it looks like there's the mummies, there's our vampires hanging out, witches and banshees, and just married in Minnesota. The Vikings rose up from the frost-bitten ground to pillage and plunder and rampage through town. While smelling of lutefisk and dizzy with drink, they tried to cause trouble, but just caused a stink. Can you see the green clouds saying they're stinky? The starving young ogres who wandered the plains came looking for food as they had hunger pains. They climbed up the red pines and hid out of view, then jumped down to scare passerbys with a boo. Those don't look like the friendly Shrek and Fiona ogres at all. The creepies were crawly and the crazies were crazed. The Rochester zombies had eyes that were glazed. The ogres from Moorhead were ugly as sin, with big bulging noses and warts on their chin. The ghouls danced around but were lacking in soul. The gargoyles could rock and the headless could roll. Although The whole spectacle seemed to spell doom. I foolishly thought I'd be safe in my room. But then something happened, oh no, that made my heart jump. From somewhere below, I heard a big thump. I froze for a moment, as quiet as a mouse. Yes, I could hear noises from inside the house. If you look, it looks like he's got a Minnesota Vikings pennant, Skull Vikings. And then right here, it says Charles Schultz, who is from the cities, and he's the one who did Peanuts, so it looks like he's drawing Charlie Brown in that picture. I put on my slippers, I pulled on my robe, I shook like a leaf, but I don't think it showed. Then slowly but surely I crept down the stairs, preparing myself for the biggest of scares. My hands trembled wildly, I opened the door, I still shudder now at the horrors I saw. The stereo spat out some hideous sounds as dozens of monsters jumped madly around. Nope. Split Rock Lighthouse. I've been there before. It's one of my favorite places to visit. The sight was horrific. It made my skin crawl. These monsters were having their Halloween ball. And right in the middle, one monster loomed tall, the hairiest, scariest monster of all. There's a rockin' out witch using her broom as a guitar. He turned around and saw me, and I fell to my knees. I'm not very tasty, so please don't eat me, please. He beamed ear to ear and broke free from the huddle, ran over, and gave me a big monster cuddle. At last we have found you, he said with a smile. From Marshall to Hibbing, we've been looking for a while. We came here to give you a wonderful prize. He held up a trophy in front of my eyes. A prize for me, he replied with a grin. But what did I enter and how did I win? You've won first prize for the costume you're wearing. It scares me, and I'm tip-top at scaring. And all he was wearing was his robe and slippers, right? This isn't a costume. I'm just dressed as me. Exactly the scariest thing you can be. A small human child with a cute button nose. Your teeth are so shiny, you've only 10 toes. No hair on your face, no horns on your head. The whites of your eyes are not glowing or red. A bone-chilling costume, a horrible sight. A worthy ensemble for Halloween night. We partied together until the moon set, a Halloween night I'll never forget. And next year I won't want to hide in my bed. The monsters won't scare me. Look at best haunted house ever. I'll scare them instead. So I hope you enjoyed A Halloween Scare in Minnesota, written by Eric James and illustrated by Marina Le Ray. I hope you recognize, for those of you who live in Minnesota, I hope that you recognize some of the names of places. Like I said, my hometown, I kind of blurted the name there. My hometown is Duluth, Minnesota. I live in Superior, which is right across the Wisconsin-Minnesota border. I just have to drive across the bridge and I'm in my hometown again. So it's not that far, but this is still probably one of my favorite versions of a Halloween scare. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed the music. Again, I will post the link down below. I do not own rights to the music that was in here that you heard in the background, but from me, and as you can kind of see over there, Oreo, sorry. I was watching Finding Nemo the other day. So me and Oreo say happy Halloween, and we will see you soon.